വേറെ ആർക്കെങ്കിലും വേണോ മലയാളം? ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ആവശ്യമുള്ളവർ അവിടെ ഉണ്ട്. കഴിഞ്ഞ ആഴ്ചത്തെ സെയിം നോട്ട്സ് തന്നെയാണ് ഈ ആഴ്ച ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത്. ആഴ്ച പറഞ്ഞായിരുന്നു ഞാൻ മലയാളം അധികം ഉപയോഗിച്ചില്ല. സോ ഞാൻ ഒരല്പം മലയാളം കുറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാലും അതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് നോട്ട്സ് വളരെ കൃത്യമായിട്ട് എഴുതിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഐ ഹാവ് ക്ലിയർലി ക്യാപ്ചർഡ് മലയാളം നോട്ട്സിൽ ഞാൻ എല്ലാം മലയാളത്തിൽ ക്യാപ്ചർ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. എല്ലാറ്റും ഹാവ് എ at the end of this pastor ദൈവം transform my life. ജീവിതത്തെ രൂപാന്തരപ്പെടുത്തുന്ന ജീവനുള്ള ദൈവവചനം. So it will transform my life. Here, sitting here, you have influence at least 2% in your life. Okay, all of your leaders, wherever you are, you know. So we in the to be a shift in the priorities of our life, you know, as we that is according to the word of God. And at the end, you know, where they see me or see different personality because they're transforming. So rather than just learning some word of just having some knowledge, I pray that this will transform our life. Having said that, let's turn to the book Nehemiah. Someone can read it in Malayalam.
ഈ വർത്തമാനം കേട്ടപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ഇത് കരഞ്ഞു. ദൈവത്തോടെ ഞാൻ പ്രാർത്ഥിച്ചു പറഞ്ഞെന്നാൽ സ്വർഗത്തിലെ ദൈവമായ യഹോവേ, നിയമവും ദയവും പ്രാപിക്കുന്ന മക്കാനും മക്കളായ ഞങ്ങൾ നിന്നോട് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്ന പാപങ്ങളെ ഏറ്റുപറയുകയും ചെയ്യുന്ന അടിയുടെ പ്രാർത്ഥന കേൾക്കേണ്ടതില്ലേ? എന്റെ ചെവി ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചു.
ഇതിന്റെ ചരിത്ര പശ്ചാത്തലം കൂടിയാണല്ലോ പഠിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നത്. രാജ്യം രൂപീകരിക്കുന്നത്, nation of Israel was born, and after Solomon രാജാവിന് ശേഷം, after King Solomon, it got split into two. You know, there was the northern kingdom Israel and the southern kingdom Judah. So, and then how we saw how eventually in 722 BC the northern kingdom was completely destroyed, but the southern kingdom continued. Southern kingdom എന്ന് പറയുന്ന യഹൂദ ഗോത്രം, ദാവീദിന്റെ ഗോത്രമായ യഹൂദ ഗോത്രവും Benjamin Gothram, Benjamin and David's Judah continued until early 600 BC. So, the book of Nehemiah was already being prophesied, or rather, the coming back of Israelites was already being prophesied in book of Isaiah. So, I want to take few minutes to discuss about the book of Isaiah and few of the major prophets. പ്രധാന പ്രവാചകന്മാർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന യെശയ്യാവ്, യിരെമ്യാവ്, യെഹെസ്കേൽ, ഈ പ്രവാചകന്മാരെ കുറിച്ച് ഒന്ന് രണ്ട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞതിന് ശേഷം അതിൽ എവിടെയാണ് ഇസ്രായേൽ മക്കൾ തിരികെ വരുന്നത്? Where is it written that the Israelites will come back? And this really captured my attention. So I just want to share that before we move on to book of Nehemiah. So we know that right here, ഇവിടെ നാം കണ്ടു 722 BC, the kingdom was destroyed. Okay, 722, Israel was destroyed, but Judah continued. Okay, they continued all the way till 600. So, prophet Isaiah, യെശയ്യാ പ്രവാചകൻ മാത്രം മറ്റ് എല്ലാ പ്രവാചകന്മാരിൽ നിന്നും വിഭിന്നമായിരുന്നു. Prophet Isaiah was different. I'll tell you why. Isaiah was prophesying at the year 740 BC. Okay, 740 BC. നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചു എന്നാണ് യെരുശലേം നശിപ്പിക്കപ്പെട്ടത്? 600 BC. Okay, 590 600 BC-കളിലാണ് നശിക്കപ്പെട്ടത്. അപ്പൊ നമ്മളൊരു ടൈം ലൈൻ വരയ്ക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ ടൈം ലൈൻ പോകുന്നത് 0 യേശുക്രിസ്തുവിന് ശേഷം AD, അതിനു മുൻപ് BC, after death Anno Domini or before Christ. അപ്പോൾ in 600 യെരുശലേം ദേവാലയം പൂർണ്ണമായും നശിപ്പിക്കപ്പെട്ടു. അല്ല, യെരുശലേം ദേവാലയം അല്ല, യെരുശലേമിൽ ആദ്യത്തെ ഒരു പറ്റം one set of people were taken into exile. But in 587 BC, it was completely destroyed. Isaiah is in 700 BC. 100 വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് മുൻപ് യെശയ്യാവ് ജീവിച്ചിരുന്നത്. If you see at all the prophets like Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, no, not Joel, but Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, maybe not Jonah, Micah, Nahum, they all were prophesying during the time of exile. Israel makkal exile Ashur രാജാക്കന്മാരെയും ബാബിലോണിയൻ രാജാക്കന്മാരെയും Persian രാജാക്കന്മാരെയും അധീനതയിൽ, while they were in exile, all these prophets were prophesying except Isaiah. Okay, Isaiah was the only prophet. In fact, Isaiah's dad was king's brother. As then king of Judah, യഹൂദയിലെ രാജാവിന്റെ സഹോദരനായിരുന്നു യെശയ്യാ പ്രവാചകന്റെ പിതാവ്. In other words, Isaiah was a very learned man. That's why we see in the book of Isaiah, it started off with ഉസിയ രാജാവ് മരിച്ച ആണ്ടിൽ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് തുടങ്ങുന്നുണ്ട്. Prophet Isaiah had close ties with the kings at that time. Uzziah, he also was prayed for Hezekiah, right? You know Hezekiah, Hezekiah മരിക്കത്തക്ക ദീനം പിടിച്ചു, അത് മെസ്സിയാവിലാണല്ലോ പറയുന്നത്. So Isaiah was a learned man, he is educated man. If you study the prophet of Isaiah, the wordings are very നല്ല എഴുത്തുകാരന്റെ വാക്കുകളാണ് യെശയ്യാവ് ഉപയോഗിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്, മനോഹരമായ എഴുത്തുകാരന്റെ വാക്കുകൾ. He was a learned guy and he had a close ties in the kingdom. And at that time, Judah, Yehuda Gotram, the kingdom of Judah was in good shape. There is nothing going on. There is no problems of the enemy. Yeah, there is a little bit of problems from the enemy all the time, but they were not taken into exile or captivity. And also Israelum അന്ന് അതേ ക്യാപ്റ്റിവിറ്റിയിലോട്ട്, what's the English of Malayalam captivity? പ്രവാസത്തിലേക്ക്. ഇസ്രായേലും അന്ന് പ്രവാസത്തിലേക്ക് പോയിട്ടില്ല. No, when Isaiah started prophesying, nobody was in pravasam, nobody was in captivity. Okay, but Isaiah prophesied that after 70 years there is a guy named Cyrus. King Cyrus will rebuild the temple of Jerusalem. Okay, എന്റെ ഇടയനായ കോരശ് യെരുശലേം പുതുക്കി പണിയുമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ, when he said that, Cyrus to begin with is a Persian name. ഒരു പേർഷ്യൻ പേരാണ് സൈറസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. എല്ലാരും കൂടെ നോക്കി യെശയ്യാവിനോട് പറഞ്ഞു, everyone said, Isaiah, what kind of nonsense are you prophesying? First of all, there is no Persian kingdom. Second of all, why a Persian named Cyrus? Chorus, who in the world is that? And guess what? Did Isaiah see the prophecy fulfilled? No, he died. Isaiah, it's after 130 years after Isaiah prophesied, it happened. ആ ഒരു വാക്യം മാത്രം വായിച്ച് I want to go to Ezekiel and Jeremiah. ഒന്ന് വായിച്ചാട്ടെ, someone in Malayalam and English. Isaiah 44 verse 28. യെശയ്യാവ് 44-ന്റെ 28.
അവനെന്റെ ഹിതമൊക്കെ നിവർത്തിക്കും എന്നും യെരൂശലേം പറയപ്പെടും, നഗരത്തിന് അടിസ്ഥാനമിടുമെന്നും ഞാൻ കൽപ്പിക്കുന്നു.
Okay, in English. And also at that time, Ashur rajakanmar, Assyrian kingdom first attacked. So those who were alive, they said, see, Isaiah, you said Persian king is going to come help you. The Assyrians are here. What are you talking about? Then after Assyrians, we saw that this color right here, the bluish color, Babylonian kingdom. Babylonians came. And then the Persian came. And by the time when the visions came, Isaiah is long gone. Isaiah also prophesied about who? Jesus, right? He's a wonderful counselor, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Isaiah also prophesied about Jesus. I am just capturing only prophesy that Isaiah said way before everything happened. Okay, you probably Tony will go into details of other prophets and what all they have prophesied. In other words, if you study the word of God, it's closely. Yeshaya Pravajanam ഞാൻ വായിക്കുമ്പോൾ I know the context when I read the book of Isaiah. Okay, it happened when everything was happening good. There was nothing much going on, and he also prophesied that the Israelites were destroyed by Assyrians. ഇതൊക്കെ മനസ്സിലാക്കി ആ യെശയ്യാ പ്രവചനം വായിക്കുമ്പോൾ now I get a much better revelation. So that's what I want everyone to understand in learning the historical context. വിലാപങ്ങൾ എഴുതിയിരിക്കുന്നു. Why does എഹെസ്കേൽ ആണല്ലോ വിലാപങ്ങൾ എഴുതി, യെരമ്യാവ് എന്തിന് വിലാപങ്ങൾ എഴുതിയിരിക്കുന്നു? Because you know that they were taken into captivity. 3 പ്രാവശ്യമായിട്ടാണ് പ്രവാസത്തിലേക്ക് പോയത്. In the second set of prophets, ആദ്യത്തെ സെറ്റിലാണല്ലോ ദാനിയേൽ പോയത്, രണ്ടാമത്തെ സെറ്റില് യിരെമ്യാവ് പോയത്, പിന്നെ എസിക്കിയേൽ ആണ് മൂന്നാമത്തെ സെറ്റില് പോയത്. യിരെമ്യാവും യെഹെസ്കേലും, Jeremiah and Ezekiel, both of them were Levite and priestly family. Both of them are Levite and priestly. Isaiah is the only one who is not, but he was closely related to the king. Okay, so you can see how when I read Jeremiah and Ezekiel, when I read with an understanding of the context of when this happened, now everything makes sense. Why is this guy weeping? Why is this guy crying? Why is this guy saying all this nonsense or all these things about this country or that country? Now I can understand why it is said so. പക്ഷേ നെഹമ്യാവാണ് ഏറ്റവും അവസാനം എഴുതപ്പെട്ട പുസ്തകം. പഴയ നിയമത്തിൽ book of Nehemiah is the book that is written, the last book that is written in the Old Testament chronologically. എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഞാൻ നോക്കി കഴിയുമ്പോൾ മലാഖി അവസാനത്തെ പ്രവചനം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാലും so that Nehemiah was the book that was written. So now I read other prophets, it all makes sense. So that's one thing that you need to know about the prophecy, how Isaiah, Jeremiah and Ezekiel are tied into the story of Nehemiah. Not Nehemiah, it was actually Ezra who first came. And after Ezra, what did Ezra do? Ezra came and built the temple, right? We can see here in Nehemiah, it says that Nehemiah is come asking. What was the point that we learned last week? Nehemiah was in the palace. He is having a very joyful life. Onamata point, Nehemiah was born, some of us who are born and brought up in United States, can you imagine going back to Kerala and building a temple or building a church for God? Nehemiah, although he was in Persia, he had close ties with the king. You know, King Artaxerxes. What happened? Even though he was having a very posh life, he identified himself with the Jews. He identified himself with the people of God. So the first thing before God needs to do anything in our life is we saw that we need to know exactly our identity. You know, I can have several identities. Abi, you know, he works at such and such place. He teaches at such and such place. We can have all our identity. Or a friend, he does this, he does that. At the end, we saw that none of that identity matters. For Nehemiah, I can see that Nehemiah having all that identity. Can you imagine Nehemiah? If you ask a Jew, every Jew will be so proud. You know, Nehemiah, oh yeah, he's my own caste. He's a Jew. Do you know that? You know, every Jew will have a very proud moment when they talk about Nehemiah, because Nehemiah is in the palace talking to him, eating at the same table. But Nehemiah knew within him that this is not my identity. The first thing that we saw that So next point, now handout that we're going to look today is verse 2. The first point was beware of one's identity because it is important for God to use you. So now I'm going to look at the next verse. In verse 2, Hanani, one of my brothers and some came from Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews who have escaped captivity and about Jerusalem. Here is in the captivity and great distress and reproach, and the wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and the gates are burned with fire. When I heard this words, I sat down and wept. So today I'll be talking about the wall around Jerusalem. Achungjan was talking about, this is a right time that we are talking about the walls, because our nation is dealing with the wall issue, but we are not talking about that wall, okay? We're going to see how important the walls are in Jerusalem or in our own life. Walls represent the boundaries in our life. The first thing Nehemiah was that when we heard, why did this news capture Nehemiah? So, offering life-changing conversation. We saw that when someone talked to me, നമ്മളോട് ഓരോരുത്തരോടും ആരെങ്കിലും വന്ന് സംസാരിച്ചതിന് ശേഷം തിരികെ പോകുമ്പോൾ അവരുടെ ജീവിതത്തിൽ ഒരു വ്യത്യാസം വന്നിട്ടാണോ അവർ തിരികെ പോകുന്നത്? Hanani, it says that Nehemiah's brother came and there was something burning in this man. After the conversation, Nehemiah's life altered at one conversation. Are we in a place where someone come and talk to me, and when they turn back and go back to their place, are they going to, what? Brother, whatever you said, sister, whatever you shared, touched me. That I felt God's presence in my life. I'm going to decide to make a change in my life. In Nehemiah's life, having a good life, he completely changed. And we can see that. I think I'm going ahead of that. Let's go to the same place. So the same way that if in our life we can happen, Nehemiah's life was altered in one. Our life can alter not only with a conversation among us, but if we have a real encounter with God, our life will be altered forever, just how Nehemiah experienced. Life-changing conversation. Because Hanani, first of all, Nehemiah himself was prepared. That's what my next point is. Next point is point number point. മലയാളത്തിൽ എഴുതിയിരിക്കുന്നു, നെഹമ്യാവിന്റെ ഹൃദയം ദൈവിക കാര്യങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടിയായിരുന്നു. അവന്റെ ഹൃദയം തനിക്കല്ല, മറ്റുള്ളവരിലായിരുന്നു. Second point is Nehemiah's heart was for the things of God. That blank right there is for the things of God. His heart was not on himself but on others. What happened here? Nehemiah, you would think that Nehemiah being a cupbearer, it says there are some terms that is being used in next chapter, is that Nehemiah went in presence of the king. He went into king's presence and king said, Nehemiah, what happened to you? You look sad. Do you know the weight of that statement in front of a king? If you look sad, that means you are dead. Nobody can be sad in king's presence. If you are sad, you better don't come into king's presence. Your head will be cut off. Everyone who is in king's presence should be happy. To begin with, Nehemiah had very close ties with the king. You know what does that mean? King said that I have never seen you sad. You know what does that mean? Until that point, Nehemiah was extremely faithful in what he is doing. I have seen some people. They had a small encounter with God. Okay. All of a sudden they decide, you know what? I am going to do God's ministry. And Then they go for God's ministry, and then later you talk to them, they're having such a miserable life. And that's what you'll go through. Some of us might be good at some, but then when I'm going to school, I am struggling. Or when I'm going to work, I'm struggling. Wherever God has placed you, Nehemiah, even though his chapter starts right here, he has been working with the king as a cupbearer for a long time. And we don't see anything written about it. But we know that he was faithful in that position. That is why king showed favor to Nehemiah. Can you imagine? That should not be an excuse for me in going down as a father. Okay? I have a duty as a father to take care of my girls, to spend time, to have a family altar as necessary. On my work, I have been paid to do certain things. I cannot use this as an excuse. My ministry as an excuse for the jolly cues. My ministry as an excuse for the jolly kittumbol will be a little more faithful. When I get into, I will do. When I get my promotion, where are you right now? Nehemiah, where he was right now, he was faithful. Where am I right now? As a dad, as a co-worker, as a friend, as a husband, as a student, as a church member, where am I right now? Am I faithful in everything that is given to me? Nehemiah clearly, it says, King Cyrus gave everything to Nehemiah. Nehemiah was gone for, we'll be coming to for 12 years, he was gone. And he came back and worked in the king's palace. 12 വർഷം പോയി അവിടെ പോയി പണിതതിനു ശേഷം തിരികെ വന്ന് faithful person Nehemiah was. Nehemiah had such a name in king's palace that king wholeheartedly told Nehemiah, take whatever you want. Not only that, later that the king gave him letters. The letters, when you cross this country and this country, as you cross the borders, these are the letters that you need to. King gave him everything to go build the wall. Why did Nehemiah get that kind of received God's favor? I want to tell you, if I am not now, I need to stay faithful in my relations, in my dealings, in my talks. What heart was for things of God, and it was reflected in his work. If I have an issue with my coworker, I will deal with നിങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെയും എന്നാണ് grade in an assignment that was given grade. അതുകൊണ്ട് whatever you do in church, no. Whatever you do it in house, no. Altered by one conversation, heart was already prepared because he is looking for things of God. His heart, once you have a thought, അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് റോമറിൽ പറയുന്നത്, if you have a transformed life, രൂപാന്തരപ്പെട്ട ജീവിതത്തിന്റെ ഉടമയാണെങ്കിൽ, if you have a transformed life, your thought process and Spirit of God's thought process will be the same. അത് രണ്ടും ഒരുമിച്ചായിരിക്കും. നമ്മുടെ ഈ കണ്ണ്, we have both eyes, right? ഇതിന്റെ ഫോക്കസ് ഒന്ന് മാറിപ്പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ we won't be able to see clearly, right? This is what's happening in our life. I represent my will, and the other I represent the will of God. In 1 John he says, whatever you ask will be given to you. Nehemiah asked for an impossible task, beloved. You know why? Because in a kingdom, ഒരു Persian രാജ്യമാണ് എങ്കിൽ, if this is a kingdom, This is the kingdom of Persia. Okay, we saw that how Jerusalem had small walls, nobody could destroy Nineveh. The walls were so strong, and we heard that the prophet. Did you help me with the prophet? Who prophesied again? No, now prophesied against Nineveh. That Nineveh, strong country, you will be destroyed by water. And everyone was like, and we saw that how river Tigris overflow, and the sun-baked walls, sun-baked bricks slowly disintegrated. And that's how. So the walls deal, in other words, the walls around a city matters. So you know what Cyrus did? Cyrus gave Nehemiah permission. King Cyrus here gave Nehemiah permission that you can go to Jerusalem and build a wall. You know what does that mean? Power of your own. And we know about Sanballat and Tobias. These are the countries around them. Sanballat the countries around them, they went back to the king and told them, hey, look at these guys, they're building a wall around Jerusalem. What I'm trying to say is, Nehemiah received such a favor from God and from king, because God, Nehemiah's desire of building a wall was a desire of God. നെഹമ്യാവിന് വന്ന താല്പര്യം, ഓക്കെ, നെഹമ്യാവിന് വന്ന താല്പര്യം ദൈവത്തിന്റെ താല്പര്യവുമായി ചേർന്നതുകൊണ്ട് it got fulfilled. That's why it got fulfilled. You know, I pray for a car or a house or blessing. That is okay. God will bless you. But when you pray for those things, there's a spirit within you join with that spirit of desiring something. If they both are synced together, when it happens, whatever you exam, do your part. Give the desire. You're asking for a position. That is not wrong, because Nehemiah was promoted to the highest place. Daniel was promoted to the highest place. But still Daniel found time to pray. Okay? But if the Spirit of God is not with you, you need to question, where is this? Sat down. അവിടെ പറയുന്നത് Nehemiah അവിടെ കരഞ്ഞു. I mean, he couldn't even stand. He lost his energy. And then it says, I fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. And we saw last week, how many days did it take to build the wall? 50 ദിവസം കൊണ്ട് മതില് പണിതു. Wall was built in 52 days. 4 മാസം, 4 months. A 52-day effort took 4 months of prayer. If God wants something through me, he has to do something in me first. Okay? In me first and then through me. Okay, I am asking God to do such and such things. I am praying, God, deliver these people, or do this and this. First, God has to work in my life. എന്നിൽ ആദ്യം ഒരു മാറ്റം വരാതെ എന്നിലൂടെ ഒരു മാറ്റം സാധ്യമല്ല. God used Nehemiah. ഉപവാസവും പ്രാർത്ഥനയും വലിയ സന്തോഷമുള്ള കാര്യമൊന്നുമില്ല, ഇച്ചിരി ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുള്ള കാര്യമാണ്. You know what is that? If you are going through a tough season in your life, if you are going through some disappointments in your life, maybe God is ഹിതമല്ലാത്തത് പ്രവർത്തിച്ച്, if I am doing something that is against the will of God, and then if I go through some tough times, maybe, you know, God will have his mercy and he will pull you out. But when you are in the will of God, don't expect that my life will be always on the hilltop, that everything is going to be happy. The season that Nehemiah was going through, ഉപവാസത്തിന്റെയും പ്രാർത്ഥനയുടെയും കരച്ചിലിന്റെയും കണ്ണുനീരിന്റെയും അനുഭവം, a time of sadness, fasting and praying, we all have to go through that before a season of being used by God. So maybe the season that you are going through right now, maybe some of us, we are going through the situation. Some of us, we might be about to enter into a situation, or some of us, we are coming out of situation. There is nothing other than all these three categories. So if you are going through a situation that nothing is happening, nothing is going on, maybe buckle up. A season is about to come. But Nehemiah, when he saw that, when he heard that, he sat down and wept, because his heart was for after things of ദൈവിക കാര്യങ്ങളിലോട്ടായിരുന്നു അവന്റെ താല്പര്യം. ലോകപ്രകാരം ഉത്തമനും അതെ നന്മ നിറഞ്ഞവനും ധനവാനും സമ്പന്നനും സമൃദ്ധിയും ഉള്ള നെഹമ്യാവ് ആയിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ തന്നെയും തന്റെ ഹൃദയം ഇവിടെ അല്ലായിരുന്നു. Even though he was living in such a conditions where it was everything was posh, his physical presence was here, but his heart was away for things after God. We all have been, I shared a good example last week, how much we are blessed comparatively. Do you know that we are probably in the top 2% of rich people in the world? If you have a wallet, when you open it, there is some dollar, or if you have a refrigerator that has some money in it, or if you have a house that you can call home, we are on the top 2% rich people in the world. ലോകത്തെ 2% സമ്പന്നന്മാരുടെ പട്ടികയിലാണ് നമ്മൾ ആയിരിക്കുന്നത്. Why are we given all these riches? Nehemiah was given that. അതൊക്കെ സുഖിച്ച് രസിച്ച് പോയിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ ഇന്ന് ഞാനും നിങ്ങളും ഈ നെഹമ്യാവിനെ കുറിച്ച് പഠിക്കത്തില്ലായിരുന്നു. ഒരുപക്ഷെ അന്ന് കുറച്ചും കൂടെ പേരും പെരുമയും കിട്ടിയിരുന്നിരിക്കാം, കുറച്ചും കൂടെ പൈസ ഉണ്ടാക്കി. he could have bought a better car or a better whatever that is at that time, a better chariot, better maids, better position. He would have got a better name, and that's it, it is gone. That is why Moses said, teach us to count our days. We all, whether we like it or not, we have to leave this place one day. When we are at this young age, maybe the first 2 rows, we don't think about it. We think about, what, I've got a lot of time. But just as Nehemiah is a history, we all will be history one day, whether we like it or not. But can we go to God's presence and say, God, here 5 more, here 3 more, or what, you gave me one, I just enjoyed it, I just enjoyed my one life. When you go to the left, to eternal damnation. Or you know what, I know I gave you all the blessings, but your heart was with me. That's why in the scripture it says, we are seated in heavenly places. സ്വർഗോന്നതികളിൽ അവൻ നമ്മളെ ഇരുത്തിയിരിക്കുന്നു. മരിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടാണോ അത് പറഞ്ഞ? മരിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യത്തെ കുറിച്ചാണോ? ഇപ്പോൾ, now, right now, as I am standing here, the scripture says, I am seated in heavenly places. Do you know what does that mean? It's like the hurricane hunter, right? The HC-130 that goes above. അത് വലിയൊരു ചുഴലിക്കാറ്റ് വരുമ്പോൾ ഈ ഹറിക്കെയിൻ നോക്കുന്ന പ്ലെയിൻ C-130 അതിന്റെ മുകളിൽ കൂടെ പോയി അതിന്റെ സ്പീഡും അതിന്റെ ദിശയും എല്ലാം കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന പോലെ ഇവിടെ ഒന്നും അല്ല. ഈ എബി ഇവിടെ നിൽക്കുന്നെങ്കിലും, ഈ ഡാനിയൽ ജോർജ് പാസ്റ്റർ ഇവിടെ ഇരിക്കുന്നെങ്കിലും ഹൃദയം അവിടെയാ, തമ്പുരാന്റെ സന്നിധിയിലാണ്. ദൈവത്തിന് വേണ്ടി എന്തെല്ലാം എനിക്ക് ചെയ്യുവാൻ ഒക്കുന്നു. That's why Nehemiah's heart was not in Persian kingdom, its affluence and its poshness, but his life was there. He was enjoying the company, he was enjoying the society, he had a good time in the society, but his heart was after the king. That's why when he heard the news, he sat down and wept. A guy crying for a wall. ഒരു മതിലിന് വേണ്ടി കരയുന്നതാണ്. What are we crying for today? What are we crying for? It's a big question. Am I crying for more? എന്നത്തേക്ക് തരിക എന്ന് എന്റെ മക്കളുണ്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന പോലെ I want more enjoyment, more money. Maybe you have good intentions, but what are we crying for in our life today? Is it for things after God? Nehemiah wept for a wall because he knew that there is a prophecy that he knew that there was something that is according to God's will. So I want to challenge you today, just to reiterate. First of all, know your identity. I am a B. I have a house. I go to this church. I work at such and such place. That's not my identity. A B, at the end, a child of God going towards the kingdom of God. When I get there, what do I have to present the master? One day I'm going to leave this place and I will be just a history like Nehemiah. But will I have something that will go through the fire and I can present it to the king? I need to know my identity. Second, where is my heart? I know I have a duty here to do as a dad, as a worker, in my work, in my workplace, in my neighborhood. I do have a responsibility and position. But is that what my priority is? Through all that, I need to be faithful. If I am doing my studies, I need to be faithful in my studies. If I am teaching a class for our pastor, I need to be faithful in that. If I am doing a ministry in the church, I need to be faithful in that. If I am studying, I need to be faithful in that. In my work, in my neighborhood, I need to stay faithful wherever God has placed me. And when He sees that, He will take me to the next place. That to remain faithful, and that comes if my heart is with God. എന്നിലുള്ള ആത്മാവും ദൈവത്തിന്റെ ആത്മാവുമായിട്ട് ചേരുമ്പോൾ, to have that faithfulness in my life. And if that's the case, I will live a life worthy of the call. And Nehemiah saw God's heart and he moved accordingly. So these days, as we go to further chapters here, I think I only went through one more point. The first point is Nehemiah's heart was things of God. And next week, we'll be looking about the importance of war. If you can read through the book of Nehemiah, but focus on chapter 1. Read through the whole chapter. You know, before I conclude, I just want to tell you the overview of the chapter. First 7 chapter is in Nehemiah. ആദ്യത്തെ 7 അധ്യായങ്ങൾ is about reconstruction of the wall. മതില് പണിയുന്നതിനെ കുറിച്ച് ആദ്യത്തെ 7 അധ്യായങ്ങൾ. പിന്നെ അവസാനത്തെ 6 അധ്യായം is reconstruction of people. Reconstruction of wall, പിന്നെ അതിനുശേഷം reconstruction of people. അവരെ തന്നെ അതിനുശേഷം എസ്ര വരുന്നുണ്ട്. I told you Ezra is the one who wrote the majority of Nehemiah. നെഹമ്യാവിലെ പ്രധാന കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം എഴുതിയത് എസ്ര ശാസ്ത്രിയാണ്. കാരണം എസ്ര ശാസ്ത്രി ഒരു ശാസ്ത്രി. He was a scribe, ഒരു എഴുത്തുകാരനായതുകൊണ്ട് ഒരുപക്ഷെ he knew the language. You know, probably he knew a little bit of Hebrew or whatever language that the book of written. ഒരുപക്ഷെ നെഹമ്യാവിന് അറിയാവുന്നത് ഒരുപക്ഷെ അരമൈക്ക് ആയിരിക്കാം. ഹീബ്രു അറിയാം, because he was born and brought up. നമ്മുടെ പിള്ളേർക്ക് ആർക്കും മലയാളം അറിയാത്തത് പോലെ അല്ലേ? Because they are born and brought up in this country. So first chapter is rebuilding the wall. നമ്മൾ അടുത്ത ആഴ്ച പഠിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത് എന്റെ ചുറ്റുമുള്ള മതിലുകളെ ഞാൻ എങ്ങനെ പണിയണം. മതില് പണിത് കഴിഞ്ഞാലല്ലേ ഉള്ളൂ പിന്നെ എന്നെ പണിയാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ എന്തോ പണിതിട്ട് എന്താ കാര്യം? വീട്ടിന്റെ ഉള്ളില് ഞാൻ ഒരു സ്വർണം വാങ്ങിച്ചുകൊണ്ടെന്ന് വെച്ച് പറഞ്ഞാലും ഒരു വാതിലില്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്തോ പ്രയോജനം? ആദ്യം വാതിൽ ശരിയാക്കണം, എന്നാലല്ലേ വീടിന് വാല്യൂ ഉള്ളൂ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ we will look into building the walls around our life. അതിനുശേഷം the last 6 chapters is about re-instruction or reconstruction of people, and that eventually towards the last chapters it led into a revival. ഒരുപക്ഷേ ഈ നെഹമ്യാവ് പഠിക്കുന്നതിലൂടെ, by studying this book of Nehemiah, may Lord send a revival in our church. നമ്മുടെ ജീവിതത്തിൽ, എന്റെ ജീവിതത്തിൽ ഒരു ഉണർവ് ദൈവം ആരംഭിക്കട്ടെ. എന്റെ ആത്മാവിൽ ഒരു ഉണർവ് ആരംഭിച്ച് അത് മറ്റുള്ളവരിലേക്ക് പകർന്ന് നമ്മുടെ സഭയുടെ ആത്മീക ഉണർവിന്, നമ്മുടെ സഭ ഉണർത്തപ്പെട്ടാൽ നമ്മുടെ ദേശം ഉണർത്തപ്പെടും. നമ്മുടെ ദേശം ഉണർത്തപ്പെട്ടാൽ നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യം ഉണർത്തപ്പെടും. But it all starts in me. That we can have that burden. God, I need to realign my life to get into that place of responsibility with you. May God bless you.
നമുക്ക് വീണ്ടും പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കാം. സ്തോത്രം രാത്രികാലം കേൾപ്പിച്ച് അനുഗ്രഹിക്കപ്പെട്ട വചനങ്ങൾക്കായി നമുക്കെല്ലാവർക്കും ദൈവത്തെ സ്തുതിക്കാം. നമ്മുടെ മതിലൊക്കെ പണിയുക, നമ്മളെ തന്നെ പണിയുക. അതേ നമ്മുടെ ചുറ്റുപാട്, നമ്മളെ ചുറ്റുമുള്ള മതിലുകൾ പൊളിഞ്ഞിറക്കുന്ന എല്ലാം പണിത് നമ്മളെ തന്നെ പണിത് ദൈവത്തിന് വേണ്ടി പ്രയോജനപ്രദരാക്കി തീർക്കുവാൻ ദൈവത്തിന്റെ കരങ്ങളിലേക്ക് നമുക്ക് ഏൽപ്പിച്ചു കൊടുക്കാം. രാത്രിക്കാരന്റെ രാത്രി കേൾപ്പിച്ച വചനങ്ങളെ ഓർത്ത് നമുക്ക് സ്തോത്രം ചെയ്യാം. ഞങ്ങളുടെ കർത്താവായ ദൈവമേ, നന്ദിയോട് സ്തോത്രം. ഇന്ന് രാത്രികാലം ഞങ്ങളോട് സംസാരിച്ചതിനാൽ സ്തോത്രം. നിന്റെ മാലയെ കാര്യങ്ങളെടുത്ത് ഉപയോഗിച്ചതിനാൽ സ്തുതിക്കുന്നു. ഈ തിരുവചനം ഞങ്ങൾ പഠിച്ച് അഭ്യസനം പ്രാപിച്ച്